Hi, everybody. This is I.9. We're going to do IXL algebra. The section I.9 is to rearrange multivariable equations. Basically, this is called solving literal equations in most textbooks. So we're going to solve literal equations, or rather rearrange multivariable equations. This is I.9 for IXL, Algebra 1. And let's take a look at what they give us. It says we've got, right on my screen here for you, I've got ux is equal to negative w t v. And they want me to solve for u in terms of all the others. That means that they want u by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other. Now, in order for that to happen, you have to do the opposite to both sides in reverse order. Luckily for us, the only thing that's happening is u is being multiplied by x. In order to solve it for u, we're going to have to divide both sides by x. And the x's cancel out, and x divided by x is 1, assuming x isn't 0, in which case you're going to have a problem. Now, in order to type this in to our answer, we're going to have to, let me get rid of my dots here. We're going to have to use the fraction bar. So here's the fraction bar. And we're going to type in the negative WTV in the top, in the numerator. And then the denominator, we just have the x. And it looks like we're done. Now, this is a much easier problem than the first. We've got P is equal to IV. Is that current? No, it's not about current and voltage. Well, it's power equals current times voltage. Current is I. Can't remember exactly why. But anyway, they want us to solve for V. So V is the voltage, and so I'm going to divide by I on both sides. And we have just P over I. The I's cancel out, give me 1s. And I have V is equal to P over I. And of course, I'm going to use the fraction bar and put the P over current, power or divided by current. This one moves along pretty quickly, but I'm going to show you a little problem that you might run into. We're going to solve for W. So we're going to get the W by itself. We've got X equals W minus Y plus Z. And I want to solve for W. Sometimes in some textbooks and in some places, they'll underline the variable of interest. So I want to get W by itself, so I'm going to have to add Y to both sides. And I'm also going to have to subtract Z from both sides. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the Z at the same time. And the Y, negative Y plus Y is 0. Z minus Z is 0. And we have W all alone on the right here. And on the left, we have X plus Y minus Z. Now, the reason you're going to want to watch this is because a lot of people, you'll notice that there's a little bit of space between the subtraction and the Y and the Z. If you don't put the space, the IXL counts it wrong. So just so you know, I'm going to put in the X plus the Y, and I don't need a space there, but I do need a space when I put in my negative between Y and minus Z. I have to put a space there. The last time I tried it, it didn't work. So put the space between there for the subtraction, okay, guys? Okay, and this one, we're going to solve for U. That negative can get confusing because a lot of people don't know whether it's with the numerator or the denominator, and it doesn't matter. It could go with either, and occasionally, like in this case, it's kind of written out in front. A very common thing to see in a textbook is you'll see the following: negative U over T. And it seems very ambiguous whether the negative is with the numerator or the denominator. And it really doesn't matter which one. You're still going to end up with a negative fraction. It's kind of as if the fraction is being multiplied by -1. The reason that textbooks do this is because it's easier to typeset the book in this manner. But if you are writing this mathematically, it is more correct, I believe, to put it with the numerator. That just is, for me, it's functionally better. It's not wrong. It's the same thing. You could also put the u over -t. All of these things are equivalent. Since I want to solve for u and I want to get u by itself, this is the one you probably want to choose. So v equals u divided by -t. And in order to get u by itself, I just have to multiply by -t. And I want to just take a second to think about why that's the case. You see, -t divided by -t is +1. But if I only divided by or rather multiplied by +t, I would end up with a negative still in the denominator. But in this case, these do cancel out. I do get 1, and u is now by itself. So we have negative t times v. You can put t times v, or you can just put tv, or you can put it in parentheses. No parentheses available, but there you have it. It goes pretty quickly. I like this one. We're going to solve for r. So we have u is equal to rst. And I want to solve for r. There's my variable of interest. So I'm going to divide by st on both sides. And I'm going to mention something because some of you may end up with a few issues for this. The r isn't a problem, but I want to mention that if you want to write u over st, a lot of times on computers, they're going to force you to use this division bar. And if you do, and if you write u divided by st on a computer, this is not equivalent to what's written over here. This says u divided by s, and then take this and multiply it by t. This is incorrect. Now, the way that you can do it is you can say u divided by, in parentheses, st. And now you're taking st and dividing it into u, or taking u and dividing it by the product of s and t. Obviously, this is a better method for writing it because it's not ambiguous like the other one was. So we're going to use the fraction bar, and that's one of the things I really like about this program, is that they do allow for the fraction bar to be used. Let's see what we got next. Oh, geez. We are going to solve for I, so we're just going to subtract p. Hopefully you guys realize at this point that you're just going to subtract p from both sides. And don't forget to put the spaces. It is a minus p, but if you forget the spaces, you'll get it wrong, okay, guys? If you put this, it's going to count it wrong. It's going to think that you're taking a and multiplying it by -p, because they're kind of next to each other. So you just have to separate them out a little bit. It's not that big a deal, just deal with it. All right, let's see what's next. All right, so we have RU equals TQS. And we want to solve for S, so the variable of interest is S. We're going to divide by TQ on both sides. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to put my fraction bar. I have RU over TQ. Oops, I said TQ. There it is. Want to get moving because I'm sure you want to get done. And, ooh, I like this one, but watch out for that negative. Again, I'm going to put the negative with the S. It just makes my life easier. So I'm going to rewrite this as R equals 1 over negative S. And the QP could really be written up here, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out here where they had it. So it looks similar. I want to solve for P. So I want to get the P by itself. There's a couple of things I need to do. First of all, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative S. I could put it here so that it's easier to see what's happening, but generally I would write it on the outside. I'm just going to write it right here. Just going to multiply by negative S on that side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And what happens is the negative S cancels with the negative S to give me 1. Now I'm almost done. I want to get P by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by the Q. And I am done. I have P by itself, and it is equal to negative SR over Q. Let's put it in our fraction. Looks like we might just have one more to get to the proficiency level, and this is a nice, easy one. I hope you recognize this formula. Area equals length times width. This should be very familiar. This is the area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the width, and we want to solve for W. So we want to get W by itself. We divide by L, and we're done. And W is equal to A divided by, oops, got to put the division bar first, huh? A divided by L, because we want to get W by itself. Oh, said it. I like the pretty little L they put there. There we go. All right, we're going to solve for D in terms of A, B, and C. Hopefully everybody can see that I'm going to add the B and the A to both sides. And I guess I'll write it. C equals D minus B minus A. And I want to get the D by itself. So I'm going to add B to both sides. I'm going to add A to both sides. And I get C plus B plus A. By the way, order doesn't matter for addition. It matters if it's subtraction, but addition, it doesn't matter. You could put A plus B plus C, or in the other direction, it doesn't matter. Get rid of this. C plus B plus A. Again, don't have to put the spaces on the addition. Solve for V. I like this one. And I'm kind of glad that an easy one showed up first. This says X equals W over V. Darn, the V's in the denominator, but I want to solve for it. But I want V by itself, but it can't be in the denominator. It's got to be in the numerator. Well, you make it so. You see, I'm dividing by V, and the opposite of that is multiplying by V on both sides. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, what the heck? I thought we were supposed to get V by itself, and now it's with the X. Well, look what happened. Now I can divide by X, and the V really will be by itself. The X's will cancel, and we have V is equal to W over X. Some teachers are going to insist on doing cross multiplication, which is fine. It's the same thing. That is actually what we did. Just so you know, X equals W over V really is a proportion if you write it correctly, because this X really is over 1, isn't it? And this is a proportion. Cross multiplying is really the same as finding a common denominator. W times 1 is W, and X times V is XV. And notice, in order to solve for this, we're going to divide by X on both sides. And there's the answer. So there you have it. Hopefully that clears it up. It's W over X. We want to solve for V, so we're going to divide by US, and I'm going to get T over US. want to move right along here, see if I can finish up for you. We want to solve for R, so we're just going to divide STP by Q. STP, and we're going to divide by Q on both sides. Oh, I said divide. There it is. And let's see if we can move it along just a little bit faster. We're going to solve for P, so we have to take A minus A, I. Don't forget the space. Easy to forget. Okay, we want to solve for X, so we're going to get X by itself. We are going to multiply by W on both sides. I guess I'll go ahead and write this one out for you. One more time. U equals 1 over W X V. And I am going to multiply by W on both sides. Sometimes I'll write it over here. It doesn't really matter as long as it gets canceled out. And we want to get X by itself, so I'm going to have to divide by V. And the X is now by itself. WU over V. There you go. All right, let's see. Oh, we're getting there. Looks like we have a couple more to do. Maybe 3. All right, solve for T. Okay, here we go. Another kind of easy one. U is equal to V over T. Again, you could put it over 1 and cross multiply, or just multiply by T on both sides. And then you're almost done, because we get U, T, or TU, it doesn't matter, order doesn't matter. Generally, we like to write in alphabetical order. In this case, I want to get T by itself, so I have to divide by U, and the order doesn't matter anyway. T equals V over U. You'll notice that I put a tail on my U and used a capital V so I can tell them apart. That's always a good idea. We're going to use the fraction, and it looks like it's V over U. This one we want to solve for Y, so we're going to get the Y alone. So I have X equals 1 over Z, Y, W. We're going to multiply by Z. I like to put it in parentheses to remind myself that it's being multiplied, and I want to get Y by itself, so I'm going to divide by W. And I'm done. ZX over W. And wow, it's really moving slow today. All right, solve for Y. We want to get the Y by itself, so it's going to be X over W. I'm just going to go ahead and put the answer in. Oops. Hopefully you'll do the problem by yourself and figure it out. Looks like you got 2 more maybe. Oh, I like this one. This is the formula for the area of a triangle. It's 1/2 base times height. And my first step for this one is to multiply by 2 on both sides, because I want to get H by itself. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. And I get 2A. 2's cancel out. And I'm almost done. I want to get H by itself, so I have to divide by B. And now I'm done. I have H by itself, and it's equal to 2A over B. So A didn't look very nice. There it is. 2A divided by B. And one more for sure. So solve for A in terms of B and C, and I'll do this last one. B equals C over A. We're going to multiply by A on both sides, because I want to get that A alone. and I have A, B equals C, and I'm going to have to divide by B on both sides. And A is equal to C over B. And there you have it. I'd love to see you finish this yourself, get to 100, and master that literal equations. It'll really help. Bye, guys.